Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Hannah. I'm a first-time mom to an 11-month-old, and I am currently 5 months pregnant with my first daughter. And I am a stay-at-home mom. I'm a former daycare provider, and I started a TikTok channel. I started taking it seriously kind of earlier this year, and I thought that it would be a great idea to expand my interests and expand my audience by developing this YouTube channel where I can go into more depth about motherhood, pregnancy, postpartum, and child development, which are big interests and obviously a big part of my life. So if those things interest you, please consider subscribing. It is my first official video, which I'm really excited about. My husband bought me this ring light for Christmas. It's like the 27th today of December of 22. And don't mind Gracie's corner in the background while my son has his snack. And I thought I'd go over kind of a cool topic that didn't see a lot of people go over for my first video. And I watched a lot of like postpartum preparation videos when I was pregnant with my first kid because I didn't know what the heck was going on and I didn't know what to do. And I'm going to make a video more about making padsicles, having the house prepared, having postpartum care, for my own body prepared. I delivered vaginally with my son. I plan to do so with my daughter. She is due in May. It is the end of December, so I have about 4.5 months until she's here. So, but I thought I'd go over a really specific topic, even though it might not be super relevant to everyone. I think this information is really important because this is the second year in a row I've been pregnant before the end of the year. And I had to spend my flexible spending account. So I have an FSA. I have it through my tribe. A lot of people will get FSA, I think, through medical circumstances, through tribal affiliation, and it stands for flexible spending account. And so everybody who has an FSA card or goes to FSA store, I'm sure they know what I'm talking about. I guess I'm talking to a niche group of people, so I hope that I can put out 2 videos this week, and one's a little bit more generic. But last year, I really struggled trying to I didn't know what I needed. I didn't know what I wanted, and I ended up overspending. I bought way too many microwave steam bags. I bought way too many different types of diaper cream on the FSA store because I was like, I don't know which one he's going to need. And then he ended up needing baby powder, which they don't sell. And so there was a lot that I did buy, and I actually just realized I don't have something, so hang on just a second. Okay, so last year, I bought a lot of different types of diaper creams. I bought adult diapers because I didn't know if the pads were going to work, or I heard other people were like F underwear, and it just made it more easy to have an adult diaper. And so I bought a small as a 120-pound woman, and they were really small I was like, what adult is this? I definitely wasted a lot of my FSA money last year. I was really overwhelmed by the site. I was really overwhelmed by not knowing what I was going to need because it was my first kid. So without trying to be completely oh, let me push the limits and keep everybody listening for the 10-minute mark or whatever, I'm going to go into some of the best FSA approved postpartum and baby needs here. I don't have a number. I just have some of the ones that I'm like, this is bomb. I would absolutely recommend getting this. The first one that I bought last year that I used all the time, that you're going to have every first-time mom or every breastfeeding mom or every second-time mom tell you this is definitely something you're going to need, is the Haka. This is actually Lancino, the nipple cream brand. It's called their breast milk collector, so it's not the actual Haka, Hakaah brand. It's Lancino, Lansinoh. The reason I really like this is because it does come with a little leash. So when you have it, for those of you who don't know, a Haka is a breast milk collector. So when a baby is feeding on one side, your body is still producing milk on both sides. So you have what's called let down on the other side. And what's great about this device is it pulls back and it latches to the breasts that's not taking care of the baby. And it collects all the milk that would otherwise go to waste. And I have, especially early in the baby's life, when your baby doesn't require as much milk, when you have it latched to the breast they're not latched on, can get an ounce or two at any given feeding. And, you know, a newborn can only really eat an ounce or two. So you're giving yourself, especially if your baby has a bottle, you're giving yourself an extra, without pumping, you're providing some extra milk. And I believe there's something called like human milk for human babies, where if your baby doesn't take a bottle, there's a way to donate your milk. So either way, it's a really, really great tool. The reason I didn't choose the Haka and I choose the Lancino was because this one is FSA approved. And there's a couple reasons I really like it. It does have the ability to go back, you push it in, and it latches to you. But this one has a leash or something that wraps around. So in case your baby kicks it off, which happens, you can still kind of have it be upwards or connected to you. It's not going to totally spill and fall over. And the other reason is because it has a silicone bottom, which is really great. A lot of ones don't have like a solid flat bottom. So it's like after you have this full of milk, of that liquid gold, have a flat bottom, and it silicones and sticks to the surface. So you can know that it is stable, and you can go and put your baby down after you nurse if they're asleep and pick it up and know that it's not going to get toppled over, especially now that I have what's going to be a toddler in my house while breastfeeding this next baby. So the first one, definitely the Lancino breast milk collector, which is just an off-brand Haka, and I think it was like 10 or 15 bucks. The next one I did not buy last year, and I really wish I did because I didn't know it was FSA approved. I didn't realize how much I needed it and how much I was going to want it. And I overloaded. I bought like 10 of these, or 50. I mean, it's off the hook. But the Dermaplast. So what's really great about this is postpartum care. You're obviously like swollen, you're sore, you're burnt. You know, it's really like a lot on your body after giving birth. And this is for pain, itch, and burn. And it feels amazing. So this kind of numbs you and then provides you with like a cooling relief. So it's similar to like having a sunburn where you put on like an aloe vera and you feel that cool versus hot, and you feel the that inflammation and swelling go down. So Dermaplast is something that they sell in 3-packs. I think I bought 10 cans worth. Last time, you can bring some home from the hospital. They'll definitely give you some. I'm sure I could have found a way to sneak more out, but I was afraid they'd call me out on, like, didn't I just give you Dermaplast? I bought, like, 2 or 3 things of 3, so they come in packs of 3. I was really, like, when I first started, you just kind of spray it on after using the restroom. And because I was like, oh, I only have this much left, and I didn't have a car at the time, and so getting more after leaving the hospital was kind of an ordeal. I used it sparingly, but had I known I could buy some with my FSA money, I would have loaded it up. So this time I bought like 9 of them, and I'm not going to be shy. I'm going to be very generous in the amounts. It feels really good. It's cooling, it's numbing, and it is so helpful postpartum. The next one I'm really excited about is this one, which I didn't have last time. It's a Lancino Postpartum Recovery Essentials. So it has a peri-watt bottle. You can't wipe after. He needed more blueberries. You can't wipe after you use the restroom directly after having a baby. There's this period of time where you need to clean yourself via a peri bottle, which is basically a giant squirt bottle. They'll give you one at the hospital, but, and I did not have like a fancy one at all my first birth. I got away with the one at the hospital just fine and was able to clean myself. But what I like about this one is that it does have an angle. The other one is just straight. So you see how this one kind of has that angle that makes it a little bit easier to get the angle correctly to clean yourself accordingly, because you have to hold it upside down. And with the other one, it's just a squirt bottle. So you have to like hold it upside down and angle it right. And it's not that much of a pain in the butt. Like if you got the one that they give you at the hospital, like you'll survive, you'll be thankful. Put warm water in it. Warm water. But that's the first thing that's in here. I have not used the Lancino herbal spray, but I've heard really great things because it is more natural based. So if you're kind of hippie, if you're kind of granola and you want to have something that's more plant-based, the Lancino herbal spray is more plant-based, and it has soothing, cooling effects. And the other thing that it has, which is really great because I made padsicles with my first son, it does have these like beaded freezable pads where you can kind of swap them back and forth, and keep one frozen and keep the other one on you and just be able to swap them back and forth. I am going to do a whole video on padsicles. I did mine a little differently than what a lot of other people did on YouTube. I did aloe vera on mine, and it made the biggest difference. So if you're interested to see what I put on there and everything and when I did that, I'm going to be making a video as I get closer to my birth about preparation. So the postpartum kit by Lancino is definitely something I'm really looking forward to, that I know I'll utilize and that I definitely wish I had with my first pregnancy. The next one is pads. I bought this one out specifically, but they have pads in a lot of different sizes, which you're going to want. So I just have this one for an example. It has the wings. In order to make the padsicles, you're going to need pads. You are bleeding, you are, you're sore, and it's nice. So it's not just for the collection of like all of the stuff that comes out after you have a baby. It's also, even after that goes on, you're still sore, and it's really nice to have something that's directly applied, that's providing some type of cooling, anti-inflammatory relief. So not only is it great because you're able to collect any of the stuff that's coming out, but also because it's able to kind of heal you, and it was really, really great for me. So on FSA, there is every type of size. I just brought this one out just for example's sake, but one of the things I'm really glad I did was I got big long ones, I got medium-sized ones, I got, what do you call those? The little thin ones that you use at the end of your period. Because you kind of wean out of your postpartum bleeding. And so as you become more healed and as you become more and more the further away from your birth you get, the less you bleed and the less sore you are, and the less you're going to need like heavy duty pads. So to get pads that are maxi all the way to, mini pads is a really fantastic idea. So I would recommend going on the FSA store and getting at least, a giant one, a mid-sized one, and one of the small little pad sizes, and making padsicles out of all three sizes and having some in the bathroom for you. I contemplated putting this one on here because I really did not like using it. But they do have, so they're good since they do have stool softener. Every mom is going to tell you like, oh my gosh, the first poop is so intimidating, and I'm really glad I got stool softener and I used it all the time, and I felt like it just made me gassy, which was annoying, a little embarrassing, and it was also irritating because my son was in NICU, so I wasn't even home like in an area where I felt more comfortable being more vulnerable. Like I felt like I had to maintain a certain level of cleanliness, and my husband and I were in the parent room at the NICU where there's no windows, and it was just really awkward. Like it's so awkward even talking about it. So I did not use this that much, but I know why people did. Like the first couple of times of trying to go after you have a baby, especially if you deliver vaginally, is really intimidating, and I'm sure it's easier when you use this more regularly, but I found that I was more sensitive towards how it affected the other people in my house, and how I didn't want to have another thing to take. Like I'm taking care of myself in all these ways. I didn't want to have to do anything other than what was absolutely necessary. So this is FSA approved. Every mother is going to tell you to get some stool softener. I can completely understand why, but because I was super embarrassed and because I had the situation that I did, I didn't use it as often as what I would have. What I do remember is that I think my hospital gave me, I know they gave me a laxative, which I also didn't use. I ended up eating a lot of foods that kind of helped me have just softer situations in general. So I'm really thankful that I looked up a lot of recipes that helped me naturally. And I drank a lot of water. Second to last thing is not particularly like super postpartum, but because you're about to start a family, you're going to bring a baby home that's going to be a toddler. It's going to be, you're going to have you and your man and your baby and possibly other kids at home. FSA will always have first aid kits. And what's great is they do have Band-Aids, they do have Neosporin, they do have all of the things that you would want. And I just think it's really important when you are starting your family to have those types of things on hand. And as time went on and my son started to walk and he would, bonk his head or, cut his hand because he's way more active and interactive, I was really glad I had that, because Band-Aids and Neosporin and all the things that you always think that you have on hand is not something you're thinking of having when you are having a baby. So it's not really for postpartum, I guess, but it's really nice just as a mom. It's really nice to have when you start to have that type of household where stuff is happening more. I have one more that I'm really excited about, and it was a lot more expensive, so it kind of depends on how much money you have to flex with. Last time I spent all of my money on a boatload of really small things. And this time I spent half of my money on one big item and then the rest of it on items I knew I would have. So this is my big item. So this is called the Nanit Pro. It's a baby camera. We did not buy a baby camera with my first son because we lived in a 1-bedroom apartment and we moved when he was 3 weeks old. And we moved into a house in my parents' property. And it's a 1-bedroom. It's not a studio like our last place. It actually has like a door to go into another room. But I didn't really think I needed it because I'm like, oh, I'm right here. But it ended up being that, he would take a nap and there would be a family barbecue. And I felt like I would have to constantly go back and check on him. So the Nanit Pro is really great because it has the ability to connect with your smartphone. It can track how long they sleep. It can, obviously you can make sure, it can check how many breaths you have per minute. It can track your baby's sleep patterns. I've been using the Huckleberry app for my son, and that was great, but it was hard because manually clock when he started his nap and when he ended his nap in order to kind of keep it oh, okay, now I know when his nap schedules are. And what's great about this is it can tell by the breath, when they fall asleep. So it does have personalized sleep and guidance, tracking and guidance. And then it stands on its own and it hovers over the crib, so you don't have to try to attach it to the crib and you don't have to worry about it falling. And it has sound, if they move or if they're making noise, it'll give you an alert. And it does also capture video and picture. So if they're doing something really cute, or if you're like, oh my gosh, they're adorable when they're sleeping, I want to take a picture of them. It does include that. It also includes one of the things that I almost bought last year, which was an owlet sleep sock. But this one is a breathing band, so it goes around them and it verifies that they're breathing. So I was really concerned with my son with SIDS. I'm a former daycare worker and I have to take safe sleep courses more often than I have to take CPR, first aid, and food handling. So it was really, really drilled in about safe sleep. So I was super constantly concerned about SIDS. And on top of my history, I had a son who did not sleep on his back. If he slept on his back, he would puke, he would choke on his puke, he would wake up every 7 to 14 minutes. I mean, it was not going to happen. He was not going to sleep on his back. It was really difficult. But when he'd sleep on his stomach, he would puke and not choke on it, and he would sleep for an hour or 2 hours. He would sleep for way longer, especially as he got older and was able to sleep longer in between feedings. So I was constantly, if you ask my husband, I was I go in there and I check on him and be like, he's alive. And it became kind of a joke because as he got older, he started lifting up his head really early in his life. He was very advanced and he rolled over really early in his life. And so we became less and less worried about it. I'm going to get him some more snacks. So just because of my background in childcare and having known how to, back to sleep, swaddled, nothing in the crib, never put a baby on their stomach. However, if I had this for him, I would not be such a weirdo about going in and checking to make sure he was sleeping. Now, you might not have a baby that only sleeps on their stomach. That was just my situation. But it would have been nice to be able to just check on something and go, oh, he's still asleep. Instead of having to kind of go into my house and then kind of sneak into the room without waking him up, verify that he's alive, deal with my postpartum anxiety, and continue on doing whatever it is that I was doing, all without waking him up. So the Nana is it is the only it's the only thing over $100 that I just showed you. So it depends on how much you're allotted, how much you have left at the end of the year, and when you buy things, when your kid is due. My kid is due in May, so I have my FSA money renews January 1st. So I'm gonna be almost halfway through my ability to use it by the time she's born, and I'm definitely going to try to buy some other things before she's born, and I'm gonna be looking and seeing if there's anything else that interests me on the FSA store. But those are some things that I'm glad that I had either for my house, for myself, or for my baby that you can get on the FSA store. The one that's really expensive, like I said, I think it's like $300 to $400 is that Nanocam. But it came with so many great things, tracking their breathing, connecting to your smartphone, and being able to stand up independently. So it's going to work with either or any crib. And I'm really thankful we have that. So those are the things that I bought with my FSA money. And if you're interested to see what I get next year and what other things that I decide to get before May, which is halfway through my FSA deadline, as well as when my child is due, follow me because I'll probably make another video about like what I spent this month's money on. And my son also has FSA, so I have a little bit more to spend this year than I would. So I might kind of do some more research. The FSA store, FSAstore.com, is a great resource, and you can be verified. You can verify that everything that you're buying is going to be approved, and you don't have to do a receipt, and you don't have to turn in anything to your FSA company. But I have gone to Walmart and bought things like Dermaplast. I have gone to Walmart and bought pads. It's just some pads are FSA approved and some aren't. And it's a little easier just to go in the store and know that everything's going to be approved. But if you want to go to your local Vons, Safeway, Albertsons, Walmart, those Target, all of those have FSA items in there. So if you don't want to wait for it to ship, or if you're out and about already, all of these things are going to be at the store, and you can usually use their app to verify that something is approved. So I'm going to be doing some more about how I'm preparing for birth. I'm going to be doing a lot about how I'm going to prepare for 2 under 2, what I'm putting on my baby registry for my second child, having children 16 months apart, those types of things I'm going to be making a lot of videos on. So if you're interested in them and you are, you're pregnant, or if you're a new mom, or if you're about to have 2 under 2 as well, please follow me because I'm going to be sharing a lot more like vloggy stuff. I have a TikTok. If you follow me, Mommy Magic Mystery Tour, I make TikToks there. If you follow me on Facebook, my name is Hannah Sage Blake, Saige. I make some shorts and reels there, which are really great because, Facebook pays me pennies. But if you want to follow me there, you'll see a lot more on my Instagram, Mommy Magic Mystery Tour. Follow me there. I'll have the links of all of this in the description so you can go and check me out on all my different social medias. But that would be really great. Comment down below what FSA items you were really thankful you had, or where it is that you bought your FSA items and why. And then just kind of start a community about other moms kind of helping each other. But I'm definitely going to be doing a lot more videos. And if this is something that interests you, click that like button. Please subscribe. Do all the things that the algorithm says to do. I'm just starting out new, so, each subscriber means a lot. And I really appreciate everybody's kindness. And I hope to see you next time. Thanks again. Bye.